As a therapist, I can usually tell within the first session whether a person is living a life that's in alignment with who they are. I have found that the majority of folks who come in aren't in some way or another, and that's completely normal. Whether that is the reason they came in or not, it does kind of make its way into my work, because I'm just so passionate about people getting to be themselves and feeling good about it and being happy with who they are. I have been lucky enough to feel comfortable with expressing myself as who I am throughout the majority of my life, to the capacity that I knew who I was, of course. Um, I grew up with living with my mom, and my mom was super hands off, to a detriment, to be completely honest. But I was given the space to be whatever sort of little weirdo I was at that time in my life, and trust that I was many sorts of weirdo as a kid. And that was interesting because I grew up in a conservative area. I don't want to say that I didn't fit in, because I did fit in well enough. It's just that there wasn't anybody around who was like me. And it seemed like there were people around who were like other people. Certain friends of mine had more in common with each other. My interests tended to deviate a little bit from what some folks in my friend groups did. And I just kind of accepted that as part of who I was. I remember during one of our electives, we did a Myers-Briggs personality type assessment, and the instructor had everybody stand up when she read off their personality type, and she had read off what she thought was all the personality types, and everybody had stood up. And she was like, okay, is there anyone who was missed? Which she didn't anticipate, of course. I raised my hand, and she looks at me like I hadn't been paying attention, because I guess that is what you would assume. And I said, well, my personality type is INFJ. And she said, that's the rarest type, and then read it off. And then we went on with our day, and I went to lunch and didn't think much more of it. I was lucky enough to find people that I aligned more with in college. That's where I definitely first found people who also seemed like me, which was really cool and felt good. And during that time in college, when I was figuring myself out, I was figuring out my sexual orientation, because like for some reason I had to do that for years and years. And that was when I first started questioning my gender. That was when I first started understanding the weight of capitalism. That's the first time I started realizing how rampant patriarchy and racism are in our culture. I was just like growing and learning so much. And during that period of time, I stumbled upon a quote by Paulo Coelho, who is an author and was very much a rebel when he was alive. The quote is, maybe the journey isn't so much about becoming anything, it's about unbecoming everything that isn't really you, so you can be who you were meant to be in the first place. And that stuck with me. It's always stuck with me. I just saw it on somebody's MySpace page randomly on what we would now refer to as a meme, but back then probably would have just been some text on a screen. You know, some quotes just live with you, and that one does. That one moved right in and made itself a cozy little home in my brain. And it's something that I consider often, particularly when working with clients. Most of my clients are trans or queer. So my clients are typically people who have been told their entire life that who they are is wrong. I think the messaging that a particular flavor of human is wrong is one that a lot of people receive before they realize that they are that flavor of human, unless it's something that's physically visible, like the color of their skin or a disability or something like that. Still working within a more rural community, most of the folks that come into my office are white. I am white, as you can see. I'm also Native American, but that is something that we will unpack in another video. I'm sure most of my clients are getting messaging that they're wrong before they even fully figure out what their identities are, which is sad and disgusting. And when you grow up believing that you are less than, it impacts you severely throughout your life. You experience low self-worth, you put other people first, become a people pleaser. So my hope is that these videos are educational and empowering. I really, really want folks to know that who they are is 100% okay. Not okay, it's good, it's great. Like, being who you are feels good, it's the best. I have so many intersectional identities. I'm trans, I'm pansexual, I'm autistic, I have ADHD, I have autoimmune conditions, I have chronic pain. What else? More. There's more. I'm sure that'll come up eventually. And like all of that being said, I have learned not only to accept who I am, but just to kind of like really enjoy it. I like being the little weirdo that I am. I also want you to like being the little weirdo that you are, and I hope you do. And if you don't, like, let's get you there. If any of this resonated with you, please feel free to subscribe, give me a like. I believe wholeheartedly in consistency, and I want to keep making these videos. I do believe that there could come a point where I struggle a little bit with topics. So if you all want to help and throw out some topics right away or like anytime, I will compile a list of things to go through. I recognize that this is a YouTube video, so it's not as much of a conversation as it could be, but I absolutely want this content to be something that people feel like they're interacting with. As an aside plug, I also have a TikTok. My name on there is Jack.Outside.theBox, just like it is on here, spelled the same periods in different weird places. If you want to follow there, that content is a little more TikTok-y, as you would expect. And it does tend to have a little bit more life hacky stuff, just stuff that I've come up with or recognized helps out a lot for folks who are neurodivergent, because that's kind of a big area for my clients. So just like tools for executive dysfunction, tools for self-acceptance, it's all gonna end up meshing together. Anyway, I am rambling at this point. Thank you for being here, and let's go on this journey together.